A very good morning to you and welcome to Morning Cafe. It is the 27th day of February 2026, the very last day of this month. Vansi, unasikiaje?
Nasikia vizuri, nasikia baridi. It's officially a ladies' affair. It's a feel-good Friday. It's my favorite day of the week, and it's about to be a fantastic morning.
So much lined up today, right?
Yep.
So much lined up today, right? Yep. Tutajua mengi ndani, lakini this morning, as you can see, na tutatuambia pia weather. Nairobi is so cold. I'm assuming we're working with around 12 degrees this morning, as we've already started the show. Tumeonyesha how the weather's looking like where we are at the moment. Lakini we'll be taking an overview of how it's looking across the country. Weather for two.
Weather for weather, I mean the thunderstorms have been crazy. Unajua jana nilisikia thunderstorms nikashanga kwa tarumbeta inalia. Ya mwisho imefika.
Tarumbeta ya ule mtu ilikuwa na ule mtu wa nani wa HIV ilikuwa inaliaje? All right. So much happening in the country, and we'll be sure to give you all the updates. We'll be engaging the youth today, a youth perspective. But of course, starting 8 a.m., Itakuwa Matters Entertainment. And that is why we have the weekend queue with us this morning to check in the mood. Vansi, what's happening today in the entertainment scene?
A lot is happening. First of all, Foe Wamboi is officially engaged. So she's officially out of the market. And of course, it has caused a lot of outrage pale social media. First of all, wamesema musician Charisma is about to give us bangers. Kwa wale hamjui, Charisma is ex to the one and only.
Na alipiga mtu one day because of the babe.
Charisma amesema sina noma my guy, please mwache kuminvolve kwa mambo ajui. Lakini even speaking about Foe Wamboi, there has been allegations about her fiance that he's been spotted with multiple women, and it's his character that he moves from churches to churches identifying women and proposing to them.
We'll be getting deeper into it starting 8 a.m. Sindio? Lakini the lady, I don't know if it's a lady or the guy who said those things, deleted that comment apparently. Lakini people took screenshots of it.
Kuna receipts.
Kuna receipts. Evidence wapi? Kwa karatasi, au sio? But of course, being 6 a.m., we'll be taking a look. Morning is to engage the youth. We start with, of course, matters politics. Political scene imekuwa very shaky. Sijui kama umekuwa kufuatilia, lakini tutakuwa tunaangalia. As early campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? The hashtag this morning is Morning Cafe TV47 kama kawaida. Engage us on our socials.
At Miss_Kimuyu,
TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. My handle is at Ann_Odida. WhatsApp number 0793267279. Talk to us. What do you think of our question of the day? As early campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? And
I think, Odida, even just before our viewers are able to engage, what do you think?
Well, for me, I think they're being used to start with. You know, a lot of goonism is being seen in the country at the moment. Some are being mobilized. We see some university students wanatolewa pale from their schools to go and, to go to these rallies. Somebody would want to understand what is the motive. Ukienda rally, una expect kupata nini kwa rally? Pesa? Unataka kupata hiyo 2,000 ama una expect entertainment too. So these are just some of the questions that we'll be asking this morning. For me personally, I think it's just noise at the moment, or maybe the political momentum is coming back. We've had a political fatigue. Has been experienced for a very long time at the moment. I don't know what you think.
I mean, 2027 is just about to get here, Yes. We're just a few months away from the elections. But for now, I strongly agree with you. It's definitely noise because we've seen a lot of youths being used as goons. We've seen a lot of university students being ferried to rallies all the way from outside the counties, the county to other counties. So for now, I definitely think it's noise. But as you said, it's the momentum. We're gearing up to 2027. So let's just wait and see.
All right, you talk to us, but first of all, let's take a look at the state of the weather.
All right. right, it's time to have a look at what is happening with the weather today this morning. It's very cold, and in Tharaka Nithi, of course, it's currently 18 degrees, and we'll be having highs of 27, partly sunny. In Mombasa County, it's currently 25 degrees. It will be mostly cloudy with highs of 30 degrees. In Tana River, we have currently it's 24 degrees, but it's going to be partly sunny, of course, as the day proceeds, with highs of 34. In Kisii, we have, it's currently 16 degrees, but it's going to be cloudy as the day proceeds. 25 degrees, those will be the highs. And in Narok, it looks like it's going to be raining, mostly cloudy, with currently it's 14 degrees, but later on as the day proceeds, we'll be having highs of 24 degrees. And in Nakuru County, we have currently 13 degrees, and of course, later on, there's going to be 22 degrees. All right, and I mean, the Kenya Met Department has warned because there's going to be rainfall. Rainfall is going to be experienced in different parts of the country from the 21st to the 28th, which is tomorrow. But of course, they have also said that from the 1st of March to the 3rd of March, we're going to see the rainfall intensity going down. Now, they've issued an advisory that residents are urged to stay away from floods, flash floods, check on visibility, because now the roads, are a bit tricky. And of course, residents are being advised not to shade under trees at all, and not to stay near windows, of course. So yeah, be diligent during this time. But of course, we continue to follow up with the Kenya Met Department. And of course, in Busia, in the western region, in Isiolo, in the Central Highlands, of course, there's lots of rains. In Nairobi as well. So guys, in Murang'a, just stay diligent because mvua iko. All right, so moving on, let's have a look at the quote of the day.
Don't watch the clock, do what it does. Keep going regardless of the obstacles, because progress is made one step at a time.
All right, and we're just about to take a look at what is happening on our dailies. So let's take a look at what is making headlines on our newspapers. All right, and we start with the local newspapers, and of course we start with the Daily Nation, and the headline today reads, Activist under siege. Let's start with Brian Kagoro from Zimbabwe, who was denied entry at the JKIA, detained and expelled on February 22nd of 2026. We have Kiza Bisije, all the way from Uganda, who was abducted in Nairobi on November 16th of 2024 and sent to detention in Uganda. We have Bob Njagi, who is a Kenyan activist, was seized in Nairobi on August 19th, 2024 and forcibly disappeared for a month. From Tanzania, we have Maria Tishai, who escaped an attempted kidnapping in Nairobi in December of 2024. And another Kenyan is Nicholas Oyo, who was kidnapped alongside Bob Njagi and detained in Uganda for 38 days last year. Martin Mavenjina from Uganda was detained at JKIA and deported to Uganda on July 5th, 2025, despite a valid visa. And lastly, we have a Kenyan activist, Mwabili Mwagodi, who was abducted in Tanzania last July and arrested in Kenya this month. It's quite unfortunate, Odida. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of this entry, detained, denied. What do you think?
Well, it says state's ruthless purge of rights defenders raising alarm across the East African region. And just to start with this, Brian Kagoro is the latest victim of this. He landed at Nairobi's JKA last Sunday for what would have been a routine reception by immigration officials. And instead he was denied entry, detained and expelled. On the same day, Tanzanian rights defender Mshabaha Hamza was enduring a harrowing ordeal 30 kilometers away. Their plight adds to a troubling pattern of the persecution of voices against government excesses. Then you wonder who is scared of these activists. Who are they threatening? Is it these governments? Why can they engage them, bring them to the table and listen to what they have to say? You know, ni kama kujaribu kupiga mtu kwa anakuambia toa kitu kwa macho inakaa vibaya.
Mbona wana resist? Why are they resisting so much? What don't they want us to know?
Yes.
That's the question we should be asking ourselves, actually.
That's the main story on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. Activists under siege, under siege.
Under siege. And of course, still on the same Daily Nation, there is a story here which reads, who protects the lawyer? Of course, because lawyers are known to protect other people, but who protects them, especially from sexual harassment? Because Kenya's legal profession has spent decades championing justice, rights, and workplace protection for everyone else. Now, a flood of anonymous testimonies has forced the most uncomfortable of questions. Who protects the lawyers when it's their time for them to be protected?
But they have a commission, the Law Society of Kenya. The president, I think it just looks at the general well-being and welfare of lawyers in general. I wonder if there's a challenge with that, but we've seen lawyers also protest this, and this is a story on the inside pages of the Standard. It says their voice. Kenya's legal profession has spent decades, of course, championing justice, rights, and workplace protection for everyone else. Now, a flood of anonymous testimonies has forced the most uncomfortable of questions. Right now, they have a new president, Senior Counsel Charles Kanjama. We are hoping that these issues will now be addressed.
I agree.
It says anonymous allegations have forced the legal profession to confront power, accountability, due to process and protection for vulnerable lawyers. It's just a pullout on the Daily Nation, The Voice, and inside The Voice segment, this particular story is captured on page 4, tucked away in there. Moment of reckoning, it says that Kenya's legal profession has spent decades championing justice, rights, and workplace protection for everyone else. Then who is protecting them? We're hoping that the Law Society of Kenya will be looking deeper into this matter.
Absolutely.
And of course, the Law Society of Kenya president has also been captured here on the inside pages. He takes over that office. Other quick headlines here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Matters elections 2027, how an extra 9,000 polling stations will be distributed. This is a story on page 10. Delivery hitches keep relief aid in warehouses as Turkana residents starve. Turkana and other 23 counties are still experiencing drought in those areas. On their top strip there, Russians want to kill me. Suspected mercenary tells police as he surrenders. He appeared in court yesterday, of course, to testify, and he pleaded not guilty. He has been accused of human trafficking. And investigators say Festus Omwamba reached out, expressing fear of mercenary threats. That's the story on page 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation this morning.
All right. And Odida, I see governor's husband owns a luxury hotel near Nakuru State House. That is Governor Susan Kihika, who is the Nakuru governor. Alongside the husband, they're about to launch a luxurious hotel. Today,
State House.
Today, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua will be in Nakuru County. And as you know, they have not been seeing eye to eye with Susan Kihika. So it's definitely an interesting thing to watch out through the day, how the former Deputy President will be received in Nakuru County.
Politics is a dirty game. Watafika kupate, maybe they're friends again. Ours,
there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies in politics. I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we have?
Let's take a look at the Standard now. Passport for crooks. This newspaper captured this story yesterday. It continues with this coverage. It says immigration rot and Kenya's passport was quietly repurposed into a shield for individuals linked to Sudan's brutal conflict. An investigation reveals how rogue immigration officials bypassed biometric safeguards, manipulated applications, and erased digital records to grant citizenship to persons associated with the Rapid Support Forces and other shadowy characters, with children's identities reportedly used as decoys and approvals traced to senior authorities. The unfolding scandal shows how the country's sovereignty was traded for money and favors. At the center of this scandal is the Director General of Immigration Services. She's Evelyn Cheluget. Mohamed Abdan Dagalo Musa, alias Hemedti, and his younger brother Mohamed Abdan Dagalo are said to have acquired Kenyan passports. And of course, the serial number is also here on the front page. It was still here yesterday, AK 1586127. Once again, controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo is also making headlines on the front page of the Standard, and is said to be among those said to be waiting for their Kenyan passports. He has been seen, in photos with President William Ruto, and people have been questioning their relationship. He has other problems there in his country that are linked to criminal, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, allegedly.
Okay.
So these are some of the questions that how rogue officials gave warlords, business crooks, Kenyan passports. I saw someone saying that even as Kenyans were waiting for their passports, taking longer at the immigration department.
Exactly.
Others are getting
I mean, when I read these
easily.
stories, it's quite sad because pale Nyayo House, it takes a proper 7 to 30 business days for you to get your passport, or even more. So just to get to see that people from other countries are acquiring these passports illegally, and
Imagine.
just like that.
Yes. When you
It's
have
sad.
money, it looks like when you have money, everything goes the way you want.
It's quite
in
sad.
this
It's
country.
quite unfortunate.
This story has been tucked away on page 4, and it says yesterday, moments after details emerged of the rot that saw a crucial government document handed over to aliens without breaking a sweat, sources within immigration confirmed to this newspaper that Dagalo's passport had been deleted from the immigration database. So it has been exposed that he has a Kenyan passport, and then moments later, that the details of that passport's being erased from the immigration database. Interesting times to be a Kenyan.
Interesting times we live in, to be honest, to be Kenyan.
It's a very lovely and interesting story on page 4. On page 2 of this newspaper talks about do's and don'ts, how to guard the spiritual essence of Ramadan. Of course, it's the Ramadan period, and of course, Quaresma as well, the Lenten season. Let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines here. That story about the Russian that has also been captured in the front page of the Daily Nation is also on page 6 of the Standard. Russia job suspect claims threats to life. Court ordered plea on charge. He claimed he was being tracked and confided in police, adding that he should not be victimized. And court, however, ordered for his plea to charges of recruiting Kenyans to Russia military. MP Sensho Gachagua and child moribund NCIC is another story on page 7. And 6-month HIV jab offers relief to users who take daily pill.
I mean, I saw that there's a Kenyan who has actually gotten his first jab, of the relief. So wait and see, is it working?
Yeah.
Because they say, unlike oral PrEP, which must be taken every day to remain effective, this pill is administered as 2 injections around the abdomen, about 4 centimeters apart. So you don't have to keep taking and taking and taking. Just 2 and you're good. I don't know how effective it is. We'll have to wait and see.
It's a matter of wait and see. This is Lena Kapavie. It was rolled out yesterday in Kenya. On the back page of the Standard, Matters Sports, English Giants dominate lineup for Champions League, last 16 draw. And that's the Standard.
And I think still inside the Standard, of course, Matters Entertainment. We see this is DJ Coco, who's at the headline. She's looking lovely. She's looking dashing. But I'm particularly interested in this story about Watendawili. They recently launched their EP. It's called Hekaya. Hekaya za Watendawili. It's a 7-track EP. It has the song Tumia Pesa as the first track, Lavender, Naugelea, Gaienda, X, and Mafrimbanya. Now, it's important to note that Watendawili were once 3 of them, and they were known as Kaskazini, but then they rebranded to Watendawili, and they're making waves. They're also part of Kodong Clan, and I mean, they recently launched this EP, and they spoke about it, and they said that the song that's very dear to their heart on this EP is particularly Gaienda. I can't wait to listen to this EP, to be honest. Their debut album, En Route, which is the last album that they released, became an important learning experience. Beyond strong streaming numbers, the project reinforced the belief that intentionally, consistency, and discipline create space for artists to succeed. I'm sure unajua wimbo ya yenye iko kwa album ya En Route. Niko lucky sina fiance, naweza rudi home any day.
I'll see you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big congratulations to Watenda Willie on their brand new EP. It's called Hekaya. Let's just wait and see how it performs. And of course, to Matters Fashion, still on the pulse. I mean, there are different styles. Fashion is evolving. I love how fashion is evolving. There's the boss chic vibe. Someone said it's the tonal beige cropped button down and wide-legged trousers create a silhouette that is both grounded and powerful. There's a two-piece miniskirt there looking lovely. There's the oversized fashion style, loosely tucked onto the trousers. The cliche office dress code by prioritizing comfort without sacrificing style. I love that. Prioritizing comfort without sacrificing style. Adida?
Yes.
What do you think of this most recent fashion trends?
You know, I think fashion trends, unaweza vaa ukae vile unataka. If you just understand your body,
that's it.
That's it.
Don't go with the trends?
Don't go with the trends. Don't adjust.
Mimi nasema go with the trends if they suit your body.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
All
Let's
right.
take a look at what's making headlines on the front page of the Star. Permanent jobs era to give way to 5-year stints in civil service. A similar proposal in 2024 sparked furious pushback by union. What this story is talking about is that now public servants will sign contracts for 5 years, after which the government will decide whether to renew the contract or not, depend on the performance. Right? It says a clash is looming between the government and civil servants over plans to revise their terms of service from permanent and pensionable to 5 years contract. Sai, hakuna kitu kama permanent and pensionable. Hakuna.
Yeah.
It's a anywho. Now, what will this mean for these public servants, you know, who are used to when you get a job in the public sector, that, you know, you don't need to do much. Like you just go to the office, you just sit around, and then you know that you're under pension, you know that, you know, you are protected, your job is, you have a job forever. Now that
ends.
That might end.
That might end.
Might end.
Okay.
They say that the country, slightly more than 1 million civil servants could work under new terms in reforms to be proposed to the cabinet. It means it's still a proposal. It has not yet been agreed upon, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Talk to us, tuambie unafikiriaje about this. Is it something that you agree with? Should the permanent jobs or these civil servants, their contracts be reviewed just to 5 years and not permanent and pensionable? It's a very interesting story, tucked away on page 2 of the Standard. Young father leads Kenyans to take anti-HIV jab. Now, this is the second person we're seeing. The first on the Standard, she's a lady, anaitwa Daisy Oside. The second one, Samson Mutua, the first patient to receive the vaccine, which is administered to people who are negative, not negative, HIV negative people, during the launch at Ruto Health Center in Nairobi on Thursday, that is yesterday. There's another story here on page 6. Ritz-Carlton Mara Environment Court clear 5-star hotel after petition flops. This hotel is free to continue with its operations after the Environment and Land Court threw out a petition that had sought to stop it. Unajua walikuwa wanasema ati they're building a hotel in the middle of a reserve. Now, of course, communities around that area were very agitated that it's somehow preventing the wildebeest migration. If this hotel were to be built there, then apparently it has been given a go-ahead to continue with its operations there.
It's quite unfortunate because, I mean, during that time when all that was happening, I could see the clips online where, you know, the migration was not happening like the wildebeest migration. The animals were struggling. They were trying to find various other ways in which they could pass to the next side. And it's quite unfortunate that if we get in the way of nature to take its course, I think it's okay to build a reserve. Just don't build it where animals are passing.
I think they know better. It's a story on page 6.
Okay.
Read it and understand it for yourself. Another story is Kalonzo Gachagua team turns heat on Ruto allies in campaign offensive. That's the story on page 4 and 5. Being a weekend, there's a siasa pull out here. Mwaura, opposition's loss inevitable as routers are unassailable in 2027. Snake venom found to kill cancer cells without hurting body. Wow, that's an interesting one. On page 11, Matters Science, Scientific Study, and that's the start.
And of course, moving on to Taifa Leo, Matiang'i ajeruhi ODM, Daktari Fred, and of course there are two images of Matiang'i in Ogembo and Ekerenyo. Daktari Fred Matiang'i aongoza viongozi wengine wa upinzani kwenye mkutano wa hadhara mjini Ogembo, eneo bunge la Bomachoge, Chache, Kisii, mnamo Februari 25, 2026. Vinara wa upinzani wahutubia wenyeji wa Ekerenyo, kaunti ya Nyamira. Daktari Fred Matiang'i alitawaza kuwa mzee na msemaji wa jamii ya Abagusi. I mean, it's interesting to see the crowd that Daktari pulled in Kisii.
It's his hometown.
It's his hometown. Yeah.
When you go home, people receive you as their own. I'm very much sure people would want to embrace you.
Waswahili husema mcheza kwao hutuzwa.
Right, so this is expected in Gusii land, being that it's his backyard. So it was expected for him to pull such crowd. It just points to some support that now the region is giving Fred Matiang'i, being that, of course, there's some time back, the United Opposition and DStv party leader was saying that each and every member of the United Opposition should go back home and consolidate people from their regions. You know, even when you're coming to the table, you have something to show. What are you bringing? Absolutely. So I think this is what Matiang'i is doing, even as he continues to garner support.
I agree. And still on Taifa Leo, the same story about Governor Susan Kihika, mmiliki wa hoteli karibu na Ikulu, hoteli ya kifahari ya Encon ya Governor Susan Kihika na mumewe. As I told you, the former deputy president is supposed to make his way to Nakuru County today. So it's an interesting watch.
All right, that's Taifa Leo. Let's take a look at what's making headlines on the front page of the People Daily today. Missed priorities as 2027 votant goes into a high gear. This is what we'll be talking about this morning with my panel. It says premature electioneering. The country's electoral agency is far from declaring the official electioneering period bansi. But we see all political players are already vote hunting and forming coalitions. So that's what we'll be talking about. The Luhya lands why Ososi survived as ODM dropped Sifuna is another story on page 6. Can Matiang'i build on Gusii support to capture State House? That's a story on page 2. Let's now cross over our borders and take a look at what's making headlines in Uganda and of course Tanzania. And we start off in Uganda. Daily Monitor, 7 questions for Molly Katanga. That's a story here. Molly Katanga is a key suspect in the killing of her husband. She arrived yesterday at the Chief Magistrate Court in Kampala yesterday. 7 questions for Molly Katanga. On the New Vision, still the same story. Katanga murder widow has case to answer. A court ordered that Molly and children to defend themselves. That's as far as Uganda is concerned. Tanzania, gazeti la Mwananchi, Masaju akomaa na haki kwa raia. Masaji ni jaji mkuu kule Tanzania. Wataka majaji mahakimu kutenda haki kwa wakati, uadilifu bila kusubiri maelekezo. Asema ni dhamana inayohitaji nidhamu, wadau watia neno. Ni habari kuu pale katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Mwananchi. And the Citizen, what will determine cost of living in East Africa in 2026? A very interesting story. Consumer price inflation across the EAC eased at the start of 2026. But economists warn that the cost of living in the year ahead will hinge on a trio of domestic and global pressures. That's the main story on the front page of The Citizen. Tuangalie cartoonists wanasema vipi this morning. Caricature.
On the Daily Nation wanasema no phones at the polling centers. Quite an interesting story because, you know, Kenyans have been saying this time we are holding everyone accountable. Ukienda kwa ballot, now you have to take a picture of who you voted for because we want to hold you accountable. Now, unfortunately, IEBC is saying no phones at the polling centers. sijui tutapeana evidence namna gani. You know, Gen Z ni watu wa receipts. And I know we can't have receipts without phones at the polling centers. So it's quite interesting to see how that is going to pan out and how that is going to happen.
Absolutely. Stanos take people daily, matters of violence being talked about here, post-election violence in Kenya, and of course how the world is looking at Kenya. And the world is saying, who will get Kenya out of this mess? That's Stanos take people daily. We take a look at another caricature now, the Star.
That's Sifuna, who is saying there are no permanent friends or enemies in politics, only interests. And as you can see, kuna watu hapo nyuma wanamfuata, wengine wanasema nipe, wengine wanakuna kichwa, wengine tu wanamwangalia. I cannot wait to see how this Sifuna dialogue happens.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Finally, the Standard, Kenya Police is at the center here. Kuna mpira mbili hapa, kuna crowd na kuna management. Kenya Police inacheza mpira na vitu mbili. Is it able to manage crowd ama wameshindwa?
Ama wamepangwa.
Ama wamepangwa. All right, these are the stories making headlines locally and regionally. Let's come back and take a look at how the traffic's looking in Nairobi this morning.
Right.
All right, there's already trouble in Muthaiga Thika Road. This is Muthaiga interchange, as you can already see. It's red all over we're going way back. This is Outer Ring Road, KCA University, Survey, Utalii Drift, all the way back. There's a problem here. Garden City Mall, there's already trouble here. Traffic has already started in this area. As you can see, this is Safari Park, all the way from Safari Park. Yani hata si Safari Park. I'm trying to be nice, to see if there's some hope here. But if you go way back to Kamiti, all the way from Kamiti Road, Clay City, coming into Safari Park, into Thika Road, Garden City Mall, there's already traffic here, and it's only 34 minutes past 6 a.m. And coming right here into KCA University, that is Survey, getting into Muthaiga interchange, there's trouble here. It's already a choker block, meaning there's some vehicles escaping through the northern bypass. This is Kiambu Road as well. So this is already a trouble here. It's going to cause trouble. By 7 a.m., this might be trouble. If you're here, tell us what's happening in that area and what's causing that traffic. Other sides of Tanjago Road also building up slowly on your way to town. Definitely trouble. Friday, not looking so good today in terms of traffic. So in town, also not much to worry about, just building up slowly. This is also a problem here. Areas around Ngara, this is a problem. So this is how the traffic is looking this morning. All right, we are coming back with a conversation this morning. We are engaging the youth perspective, and the question you're asking on our socials. As early campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Interact with us on our WhatsApp number 0793 267 279, and on our socials at TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 Digital. We'll see you after the break.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of hours you work, but about your ability to put it aside. If you can't step away, it can lead to chronic stress.
Now I'm thinking about work all the time, less contact with friends. So people are like, dude, let's hang out on Saturday. Sorry, man, no, I have to work. I started missing very simple things such as calling my mom. And for a guy who grew up with a single mother, that's not the greatest thing to do. And from there onwards, I'd missed my best friend's birthday as well.
I became concerned when he started doing a lot more late-night shifts than he normally did. That's when I started becoming more concerned about his mental health.
Signs of workaholism include freeing up personal time in order to work, feeling stressed when unable to work, withdrawing socially, and working to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy.
I started messing up because I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for like a presenter. I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for a sound guy, for camera, all the different shoot days.
Burnout is closely related to work addiction, and may be its major consequence. There are many early signs of burnout: sleep and stomach issues, headaches, poor concentration, chronic exhaustion, and feeling more irritable.
My breaking point finally hit, and it started impacting my body, where I would be holding something as simple as like a cup of coffee, and I'm trembling. I came home late from a shoot, and next thing I know, I'm dozing off behind the wheel. Had I not just swayed in a different direction, I don't think I'd be here. After the near-death experience, I went to go see the psychologist.
Work addiction can manifest itself physically, but it can also manifest itself mentally and emotionally. And that's when we speak about mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, or I think one that is most common is that you're unable to just cope with everyday life. You know, things that you found very easy to do, you don't find so easy to do anymore.
I had some childhood things that I hadn't dealt with. Fear of feeling like I'm less than compared to most people.
I think at times you want to seek external validation, and in that way, you really want to work hard to gain the approval of someone else. And the opposite of that is to be internally validated, right? And in that way, you acknowledge your own strengths.
The best asset that I can invest in is myself. That's where I went, okay, let's start with maybe just making more time to go and work out. From that point onward, I realized that maybe also a change of environment would give me something better. And I resigned, started my own company. I'm a lot better now. Life got a lot more clear.
Noodles once were my daily crave until they led me into a hell's cave. Now I strive for meals that heal. Noodles, the aroma, the flavor. I just feels like, oh my God, these noodles are good. But then, you're in showbiz, you can't be a ball. You have to be an 8 soon.
Junk food is ultra-processed food that has low nutritional value. It is often high in salt, fat, and sugar in very unhealthy quantities.
My name is Nakiat, and I'm 13 years old. I love noodles.
Ultra-processed foods are heavily engineered products, designed with improved shelf life, texture.
All right, welcome back. Let's focus now on youth perspective. We want to hear what their thoughts are on the recent developments in the political scene as it looks, with everything happening, including the violence that we've been seeing in some of these political rallies recently. The one at Kakamega, we saw another one in Kitengela, another one in Nyamakima. And we just want to explore some of these questions, whether this is a political orchestration or this is just an organic unrest from the youth, which of course are forming a very big part of these political rallies. They're showing up in large numbers. And the question we're asking this morning on our socials, as early campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? Talk to us. Tell us what you think on our socials. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X at TV47 Digital, use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Our WhatsApp number is also there. It will be there on your screen very shortly, 0793-267-279. Send us a voice note or a video of what you think about our topic of the day. With me in studio, my panel is already here. I have just on my right, Neston Joseph, Youth Leader Jubilee. On my other side, I have Jennifer Mbogo, DCP Youth Coordinator, and of course, Godfrey Okeyo, PNU Youth Leader, Nairobi County. Karibuni sana. Thank you so much for braving the rains and for making time this morning. I just want to start with that question of the day to get your views, Neston. Are young people being empowered politically, or with everything that is happening in the political scene, the rallies, the violence, are they being used merely as a tool, you know, for violence, or just numbers, or just noise? What do you think?
Thank you so much, Anne, first for according young people this platform to talk on the issues that affect our country. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just like it said, empty debates make a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. We are still 18 months to the election. We have a country to run, mm-hmm. but we're already seeing politicians very active on the ground, wanting to mobilize people. Mm-hmm. If they actually had a plan for this country, they would not be making the noise they are doing. Mm-hmm. As they are making the noise, you hear that 11 billion has been stolen from building Talanta Stadium. Mm-hmm. And young people, when they hear about $1 billion, they think it's just some mere money.
Some small money.
And today, as a mathematician also, who's also representing Jubilee, I also want to talk about what $1 billion actually really means. Mm-hmm. When we try to politicize $1 billion, and when they're stealing $1 billion, we are still so full of ourselves that, don't worry. And you could even see Ed and Dwelling be told some share money of 11 billion being stolen. It's not mere money. Mm-hmm. So I was actually doing some quick math. Mm-hmm. From here to Kisumu is about 355 kilometers. Mm. You see that packet of unga? That packet of unga is about 21 centimeters. Mm-hmm. If you are to arrange packets of ugali, you buy packets of ugali and arrange them from here, take them to Kisumu, it will take about 1.6 million packets. Mm-hmm. If you are to multiply that by 150, it would give you around 258 million. It is still not $1 billion. When you take every single packet of ugali and arrange it from here, you take it to Kisumu. That's how $1 billion is worth. If you are to use 1 billion every single day, it would take you 1,000 days to complete 1 billion. That's how crazy that money is. And now, what is this money being used for? Why do people want to use the country's resources to, steal the resources to benefit themselves? Politics is still far away. Like, we are still 18 months to election. Have we even sensitized our youth to know what they are voting for? People are talking about 2-term. People are talking about 1-term. And they will tell you, 1-term is not a policy. But it's the policy to remove the trends that you're seeing in this country.
So are our priorities misplaced? Because as it looks and what we're seeing, it looks like we have the elections next week. Somebody who is not, a Kenyan and is watching our news or even watching, seeing us online, will think that we have elections next week with how we're looking. Then priorities are misplaced. Is it a mistake on our side as Kenyans, as the youth? Because, these politicians, when they are campaigning, even the youth are there. They're not just there talking to themselves, they're not there talking to the older generation. Then is it a collective, how would we call it? A collective misplaced, priorities among the youth and among the political side?
Absolutely. Allow me to just say that this country is steered by a president. The president should be able to dictate the mood of what these young people want, the mood of what the Kenyans want. Right now, Kenyans are not interested in this politics because if you look at the previous regimes from Uhuru Kenyatta, what was happening is Uhuru Kenyatta, wacha tumalize kazi yetu, tukimaliza nyinyi mtaingia mfanye yenu. But we're having a president who is already starting to tell the people that, it's time for me to start heating up the election. And just like in 2022, how he managed to convince young people and all, that is already what he started doing. So he's not setting the right temperature in this country. We still have things like infrastructure fund that we need to figure out where it's going to be. We still have these young people, we still have a medical problem. We have health issues, we have transportation issues. So have we been able to even bring out stakeholders and say, can we be able to solve this problem? 1, 2, so that we can now tell ourselves, okay, you know what, now let's start sit and politicize.
Can we do that within 18 months, just 18 months remaining? Just hold on to that thought. And let's hear from Jennifer here. What do you think of our question of the day? Early campaigns are gaining momentum in the country. And as I've said, anyone coming into this country now will think we are having elections next week. Are young people being empowered politically with everything that is happening, or merely used for numbers and noise?
Thank you, Anne, for this opportunity. Again, to say it's not news that in Kenya we're already campaigning for an election. That's
everyone is campaigning.
Everyone is campaigning. It's unfortunate because, for example, in these terms, the government should be focused on winning people's trust, but they've decided instead of doing and responding to people's cries, let's go out there and again use the same tactics they used in the past. That's why the president is busy giving out Nyota Fund as a campaign strategy to the youth. So again, back to the same question, are we being empowered or are we being used? So we have the two, for me, there's a two sides to it.
Okay.
We have the united opposition. Myself, I'm a representative of DCP Youth League. And we've encountered other youths in the parties that have joined the united opposition. And you can tell there's a plan for the youth. Just last year in DCP, we launched the agreement between the party and the youth, where we are rolling out training for the young people who want to, who are aspiring, myself included, where we are going to open offices in all 47 counties to empower youths, to empower the young people who are now seeking for public seats. Then we have the government that has lost trust with its people long time ago, and this is a far gone decision. So they've realized it's now serious, because if you've been seeing the movements in Kisii, you can see for us youths, I mean empowerment politically, I would say we are self-empowered. We have knowledge, we are seeking knowledge every other day. We understand the systems in government. So politically we are empowered, we understand what government should do, and government has lost the trust with the youth. So what are they doing? They're now rushing to give people Nyota Fund, telling them they're giving them free money, yet this is a loan you've taken. As you can see, honestly, we had a chance to interact with the PS the one who's running this Nyota Fund program, and we have genuine questions. What informed this type of, are you going to give out all our youths 50,000? What kind of business are ran on?
It's 22,000 now.
22,000, yes, for the first batch, and then 50.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say the youths should all be probably opening salons and...
Isn't that what the youth want?
No, that's not what we want. They've assumed there is a gap. We have this number of youths, which I think there is. There is a number of youths that they didn't make it to campus and all that. But is the right channel giving them money? How do you hold them accountable? What will 20,000 do to a youth who's desperate, has no rent? If you give me 22,000 right now, I'm going to sort my issues before investing. Maybe this money would have been channeled differently. Open up industries that you've killed and employ people. So there are so many ways they could do it. But again, this goes back to it is a political strategy, which means the government is about to use the youth. Now you can hear the number of youths saying two-term, and you ask them, why would you say that? Why are you team two-term? Oh, we are being given Nyota Fund. Again, does the president have to be the one distributing this money?
So again, priorities misplaced
priorities
among the youth.
Misplaced, our money being misused again. So for the government, it's using the people, and unfortunately, you could see in these different camps. When Sifuna went to Kakamega, they mobilized goons to attack leaders at the airport. So we have a side, which is the government side, which is using the youth for the wrong reasons. They are using us, for example, when we had a platform to talk to the PS about it, they mobilized, I'd call them goons equally, to come and shout that we've been given 22,000, and you'd ask someone, how has that money helped you? In this current state, they have nothing to say, nothing to show proof.
All right, we'll be getting deeper into, of course, matters empowerment and the Sifuna factor as well. He's still making headlines across the country, but let's hear from Godfrey Okeyo, just a comment on our question of the day, what you're talking about. Are young people being empowered politically, or are they merely being used for just noise?
Thank you, Anne. First of all, I want to recognize TV47 for giving the youth this platform to voice their opinions on how our country is being governed. Also, I want to thank my party leader, Mr. Peter Munya, for taking the PNU party and giving it to the youth as a tool to empower themselves and grow in the leadership space. To our question of the day, and it is no secret that the political old guard has been constantly using the youth for mobilizing votes and for making noise at their political rallies. And what is very concerning for me is, as the youth, we are doing the hard job of mobilizing the votes for these leaders. But when time comes to sit at the decision-making table, we are not involved. When time comes to share the cake, the youth are not involved. So my stand in this question is that the political old guard are merely using the youth as a tool for mobilization, and they don't see us as people who can sit at the table. That is my take.
When you talk about you mobilize the youth and people for these politicians, are you mobilizing them because they serve your interest, or are you mobilizing them because of, say, money that preferably you will get from, from that kind of activity, that mobilization, and also political patronage? Are you doing it because they're serving your best interest at heart?
So, Anne, it is open that as the youth, we are mostly financially disadvantaged. And this is what these leaders are exploiting. They know that to conjure. So when they offer that 1,000, that 2,000, they know we will show up. So there's two crops of youth. There are those who follow these leaders because they actually believe in their ideals, and there are those who follow merely for the money. So that is what's going on. There are those who mobilize because they believe in these leaders, and there are those who mobilize for the money because we are conja. Yes. And
when you talk about winning people's hearts, Jennifer, in this day and age, and of course, President William Ruto even in the run-up to 2022 general election, he campaigned on a lot of promises, of course, to Mama Mboga, to the Hustler Nation, just a lot of promises that he had for the youth as well. Let's just listen to some of his sentiments.
Wakati tulisema bottom up haikukuwa slogan, ilikuwa ni mpango. Tuliwaambia kina mama wetu ya kwamba pale wanafanya biashara, tutawapangia mahali pazuri pa kufanya biashara. Mahali kuna stima, kuna maji, kuna usafi, kuna cold room, kuna storage. Leo mimi nafurahi Kiambu. Kiambu ndio county nambari 1, mahali tumejenga masoko mingi sana Kenya. Hapa Kiambu tunajenga soko 29. 26 of them karibu tunazimaliza. Na mimi nitarudi hapa Kiambu. Kazi yangu sasa kuanzia mwezi wa 6 ni kuja kufungua soko, napatia kina mama. Nafungua soko, napatia kina mama. Nafungua soko, napatia kina mama. Na wakati tutakuwa tunafungua soko, pia tutakuja na stock ya kina mama kufanya pale ndani ya hiyo soko. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Tumetoa pesa ya serikali. Nimetoa pesa bilioni 5 ya kujenga masoko ya hapa Kiambu. Na hiyo kazi inaendelea. Kuna watu wengi hawakuamini. Walituambia ya kwamba maneno tunasema ni uongo. Hawakuamini inawezekana. Leo, I can confidently stand in Kiambu and say the markets we promised are under construction. Some of them are about to be complete, and we are going to complete all the markets as per our promise to the people of Kiambu.
Jennifer, once again, that's hope being sold to Mama Mboga's, the bottom-up, economic plan, going up the Hustler Nation. Is that how you want your trust to be, regained? Is that what you want to hear? Because clearly that is what people want to hear. If Mama Mboga hears that, one way or the other, that brings them hope. If the youth, you hear that there will be job creation, of course, you're being told what you want to hear. But isn't that psychological exploitation at that particular point where promises are being made to the youth, but there's nothing really to show for it? What do you mean by winning, people's trust in this day and time?
Again, and I'd say when you listen to that clip, do you even believe the man from someone who's been in Kenya for that under his leadership? The thing is, the government has now woken up to the reality that people do no longer trust him. He's woken up, he's done, I can't believe this is the same man promising markets. And just last year, he was out here calling your kids criminals, shooting and killing them. In the broad daylight, we had people in the same market where they took the kiosks down. And he's saying, I'm going to build you market. We had women who were killed there when they were championing for their rights. Now, all of a sudden, the devil has become so woke, and he's here promising hope. So again, it is a strategy for him. He's realized that people are awake. They know they do not trust him, and he's coming back to the people. But unfortunately, I'd like to say it's too early to start, but again, it's not too early because we have to go back to grassroots and talk to our mothers, remind them that this is the same man who told you about bottom up. In the last 3 years, he ignored your pleas. We had MPs' daily corruption to date. Just yesterday, there's 11 billion shillings. So how is it that he's making a promise to bring markets to people? And is this really what we need as a community? We have SHA not working. We have those women you want to create markets for, when they go to hospital, they can't give birth, they can't maternities now. The Linda Mama program was shut down. So what happens to that Mama Mboga you want to build a soccer for? Because what we've seen with this government, now they have Talanta Stadium, and that's all they're bragging about. But that's not what Kenyans need right now. We need employment. Women empowerment is just beyond building markets for them. We want Linda Mama back. But instead of him focusing on the right things to win people, he's deciding to use money. It's almost like dishing it out. which is again giving the country the burden, because this is money he's borrowed. In the same process of him implementing it, there's corruption cases in it. So we do not trust the president, even if he woke up every other day and said, guys, I'm now, you know, I'll give you this and that. This man has to go.
All right. Let's listen to what the people are saying. A question of the day once again that we've asked online. As campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? Bansi Kimu is on the other side. Bansi, what are the people saying?
All right, let's just take a look at the feedback on this screen. Seen quite a lot of feedback on Facebook as well. All right. Someone says, OBS Barrow says, does it matter he retired? And this is, of course, in terms of Uhuru. And Kibrit Ngoma says, did he ever? He was just a cool president, but most youth sat out in 2022 because they are learned enough to see through these shenanigans, plus they were too broke. This time, lazima tusikike. All right, that's a comment from Kibrit Ngoma. Moving forward, we have Wes Mapesa anasema he has the money, Sifuna has the influence. If he gives Sifuna the money, it's game over for Ruto. All right, that's feedback from Wes Mapesa. Of course, we're taking a very short commercial break, but when we come back, we continue with the conversation.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Morning Cafe. It's a youth perspective this morning, being a Friday. We are still having that conversation around violence being experienced in the country, even as campaigns gain momentum. But is this the way to go for the youth? And once again, the question that we are asking you, and we do encourage you to engage, our WhatsApp number 0793-267-279. Are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise? That is our question of the day. Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, and on X at TV47 Digital. And as I continue to engage my panel this morning, let's just listen to some of your views as the youth regarding this chaos.
Kuna wanasiasa walikaa chini wakaona kuna nafasi hapa imejitokeza ambayo tuweza itumia kisiasa kufanya mambo ama malengo fulani ambaye si ya kikatiba.
Na wanasiasa hao walikuwa pamoja na aliyekuwa naibu wa rais.
Mimi sina shauku katika mawazo yangu kwamba kwa njia moja ama nyingine yeye alihusika katika maneno huo.
Mr. President, whatever you are doing is not right. And there is nothing presidential about you. So Mr. Ruto, what you are doing is not right. This is not okay.
We are not going to relate anymore. It's not today, neither tomorrow. Unless we reject.
And of course, as we've seen from these clips, Neston, just politicians, of course, on one end, playing blame to what is currently happening in the country. But there's a pattern we are seeing where such disorder, as we see right now, and with these political rallies as an example, some of this disorder, they legitimizes one side and, of course, consolidates another. So do you agree that young people are being used as instruments in these power chessboards? Like nobody wants to take accountability. One party inajitoa kwa ngori inasema, you know, us, we are very innocent. We don't want to engage. So are the youth being caught up in this power chessboard?
Absolutely. And it's actually very sad to hear how the youth are very agitated when they are speaking, just as we've seen in that clip. Because these young people merely want just something. They just want to be empowered. They just want to see change. They want to see their mothers, their friends being empowered, not just politically, but also economically. They're being used for sure in these rallies because the young people have power, and it's so sad that you also still have to lose life in the middle of them politicizing all this. Because number one, if you see the number of people the people who are being killed, they're not old people, they're young people. So it would be very sad to hear an old person saying two-term and they're not attending the two-term rally. These young people are being used, and it's not just politically. The other day, how many young people did you discover have gone to Russia to go and fight with Russia? That is unemployment. They're using unemployed young people to try and sort out their political scores. It is very sad. And you see, at this point, it's not even about the party politics. It's not about who will win 2027 and who will lose 2027. It's not about one term. It's not about two term. It's about these young people. What are they agitating for? Why are they in those rallies? They are seeking validation to try and so that the people can hear them. They're trying to be numbers. Whatever they think is right. The guys from two term, the guys from one term are just trying to be heard. We just want you to see that these young people want this. And you could even see, even from this Nyota Fund, how young people want to run to the president and run to their issues. They are very agitated, and the only thing they just want to see is change. They just want to see pesa mfukoni.
Nelson, this agitation has been there for a very long time, and you know it spiked during the 2024 Gen Z protest. The young people have been talking since then. But do you think or feel like these people you're talking to, the people, the cream de la cream in the political scene, do you feel like they're listening to what you're saying? Because we have the united opposition, the united alternative government to be, as they call themselves now. And then we also have now the government of the day. Do you feel like they're listening to what you're saying?
I think one, you can be able to determine if they're listening to the youth in terms of their political front. If you look at the leadership of some of these parties, they have a lot of young people, and even for us, we are young people. Today in your studio, it's actually surprising that you don't have anybody from UDA, from the broad-based government. You're having young people from the opposition because they've already started to realize. Because somebody who doesn't have power is starting to realize what does it need, number one, to take power, and what do we need, who are the people we need to bring along. And they've already realized that we need to bring young people on board. Secretary generals, organizing secretaries are now becoming like a lot of them are youth. And you see, the problem that is happening where these youth are so agitated, and they are still agitated up to date. The president and this government took about 24 months to thank the people on how they voted for them. They took the first 2 years to try and also rob the government and rob the resources that you have that can say, okay, now we are at an equal pace. Now we can be able to match political money if we're able to host political rallies. Then now, when these young people went on the streets, when those people, hey, we actually need to work. For the next 8 months, or then actually the next 1 year, they're trying to form governments, they're trying to to create relationships, to be able to now silence the youth. But they're still not silent because they know somebody who has 60 months to develop a country is able to do that. Traore is doing the same in West African country. He only took 3 months to be able to change the healthcare in Senegal. So it can happen, and it can be able to happen even in the few months that we have. But you cannot have a president who is just, walking around and trying to, to tell the youth that, I need another second time for me to vote for you. And these young people, especially the people who are on the other side, are going to feel it come 2027, when now the president is not bothered because, he cannot go for another term. So this is the time for us to be able to say, what can you bring on the table, what you've done? And with what you've done, have you used double the money, or have you used the actual amount that was supposed to be used? So it is sad. And today, even in your studios, the things I'm seeing in this country, you can't even cry. You can't even cry because it is sad.
And we'll be getting to that point, of young people, if at all you're getting these opportunities. But still on the topic of violence, Derek, do you think Goonism is now becoming an accepted tool in political competition? Are we normalizing this Goonism, quote unquote, which of course, once again, the youth are, perpetrators, they are victims in such events. Are we normalizing Goonism?
So when you have a leadership that has lost trust of the people, you expect nothing less than a group of leaders who are going to pay the youth to act as goons in their political meetings. So you can see what has been happening. If you look at Kitengela, the new crop of young leaders, the likes of Babu Owino, the likes of Edwin Sifuna, Caleb Amisi, they were holding a very peaceful political meeting. Out of nowhere, goons. Out of nowhere, we see tear gas canisters being lobbed at them. So you see a very desperate government that has lost trust with the people, and now the only thing they can do is pay the young people to do their biddings. That is what's going on.
Perhaps is this an emergence or a normalization of a politically gig economy, where you see even in social media where we have these bloggers and they say when a political party approaches you, which pesa and continue blogging, their way up, blog for them. But is this because we're normalizing this, gig economy, quote unquote, where young people, for instance, are paid per appearance, per rally, per disruption? Is the problem normalization of gig economy?
So personally, I think the government has made Goonism a whole unit in a ministry. We are not normalizing goonship. When we went to the streets in 2024, we didn't have goons fight the people. It was the people versus the government. We raised our voices. Gen Zs were killed, we were murdered, still together. Came 2025, still championing for changes in this country. Then the government realized these people are politically woke. So the young generation is politically woke, it's politically empowered. But government is trying to cap that. And what do? Now they create a unit called Goonism. Because I don't think Sifuna mobilized goons in Kakamega. If you watched the ground, people protected the ground themselves. Not goons. They went out and said, if you think you can come to our place and hurt our leader, we are going to protect him. So this goes to show this unit called Goonism is coming from the government. They used police who are in uniform and killed people.
So the youth are not goods.
Well, they're being used. Again, I'm saying there is a part, the opposition have realized they are allies, they're supporting the youth and also championing for what we are championing. But the government is not ready to be held accountable. So what do? Because we are desperate, we still have the youth who are unemployed. They create this gig thing. So you guys, there's a meeting, I want you to go disrupt. And that's how the creation of goonship in these rallies have been formed. We are being killed by our fellow goons. For example, in 2025, just here in Nairobi, when we were in the streets and we were able to curb them, when they came in their rungus and we outnumbered them. You find them, they'll tell you, guys, I don't have food. I was given 2,000 shilling. But now that's why we really need to go back to grassroots and tell these people, this is not the time to be given 2,000 because it's going to cost us at the end of the day. It is the time when they come to you, take the money, yes. But you come to the rallies and support the agenda. Do not come to the rally and kill your fellow brother.
But how about those who aren't necessarily taking the money, but they're seeing these bloggers, blog for these leaders who are, again, blogging their way up? What happens to this section who are convinced to look up to these bloggers, but they see them blogging, every now and then? What happens to that section?
Again, there is payment in it. It's a gig. No one wakes up and supports Ruto. Because when you go to hospital...
There are people who support the president.
Well, because they are eating from the government. Because they're being facilitated. Take this money, influence a group towards this. But that person already knows they're betraying the cause. Because at the end of the day, when that person takes that money, still their share is not working.
Jennifer, what happens to these people? Your what are they called? Your fan base, your followers.
Yes.
People who follow your content, you're getting the money, they are not, but they look up to what you post online.
Yes.
Then what happens to them? When you say vote for so-and-so, will they take that as a sign to vote for whoever you're campaigning for?
Yes, and there is that side of politics. Again, I'm going to say it's not going to be 100. United opposition, we want 80% to 90 of the youth standing strong. But again, you see what has happened with the government, for example, using Nyota Fund. If today you're given that 20,000 and it changes your life, high chances you're going to defend the person who's done that. But the point is we're trying to drive across is, guys, it is not about this very moment where you're getting that fund. It is the history that we've seen with this government. It cannot be that today the government is now more concerned about us. When 3 years ago, we asked for the same things and they refused to give it.
All right.
So I think we move more into educating them and telling them, just realize that it's a season. They're using you. Yeah.
All right, Neston, we've seen, of course, the youth talking a lot online, just, it's up with one another, telling each other, we are for this, we are not for this. Do you agree with Jennifer that right now the youth are woke, quote unquote? If at all the youth are woke, then why are they allowing themselves to be used as goons? Now, let me just quote them because, Jennifer is saying they are being used, knowing very well that when violence breaks out in some of these rallies, then they are often on the front lines, of course, as perpetrators and as victims. They're always the ones being hurt. Are they woke?
To be honest, these young people are not woke. I gotta say it, because most of them are not taking their vote. They're not taking their vote, that's number one. Two, they're not, when the president comes to their area and probably the MP is in support of the government, they just say two-term. A lot of young people, the people who would want to be woke, are not still woke. They're still attending these rallies, being given T-shirts and 2,000 bob to come and destroy things because they're actually using young people. So for us to say that we've gotten to a point where the youth are woke, not quite. These young people are, one, easily swayed. And like you said, there are government bloggers who say, President Trump has done this, President Trump is coming to this, and then say, yes, two-term, yes, two-term. We have not done enough sensitization for these young people to be in a capacity to say that these young people are woke. In fact, they have now what we later like kiburi. So now, we are the people who have power. We're the people who are going to select these people. So I'm going to decide if I'm going to select them or not. But these young people need to be taught what are the ways, what are the leaders. There's a young man in this country who's formed a book called Katiba Made Familia. And he's trying to sensitize youth and telling them, this Katiba, wacha tuisome. That's how you sensitize the youth. And that is what, as a country, and even as young people who already are woke, are not doing. We are people. At this point, and as much as we are talking about Ruto and how the bad things is done, we are not in a capacity to say that we have already woken up all the young people and telling them, now this is the way to take. We are not, the reason why we're saying one term is because the president has not done this, this, and this, and this. And that is not, he should not give you something maybe like Nyota Fund and say, now I'm good. He should be able to develop a country as a whole. I should be able to have a business environment where if I say I'm starting up a business, I am there. So we are still not at work. We still have a long way to go. There's a mass registration which is going to happen for 60 days. We want to now start talking to young people in those polling stations. What does this vote mean? Why is it important that you select X or Y leader? Yeah.
All right. I care to know if any of you has attended a political rally.
Yes.
Derek, I see you're nodding. And I would want to pose this question to you. What is the end goal for you when maybe you attend these rallies? Some go there with expectations. But when you go there for you, what are your expectations? To get some money, to get entertained, to get something from these politicians in terms of just the policies that they sell to you? What is your end goal?
So I'll say, for example, I attended the Kitengela rally that was organized by Sifuna's group. My goal for attending this rally was that I believe in the ideals that are being embodied by this group of leaders. They are young leaders who are giving us hope. They are young leaders who are embodying the same values of integrity that we've been agitating for as the youth. So as I said, there's two crops of youth. There are those who are going to attend these rallies because they actually believe in the leaders who are organizing these rallies. Then there's a crop of youth who are being exploited by the 2,000 shillings because wakonja. And the question you posed, whether the youth are being exploited because they are woke or not. I don't think it's a question of the youth being woke or not. However much you are woke and well-versed with issues, kama ukonja, if you don't have opportunities, you will be exploited.
And Neston, would you be exploited? If you, I don't know if you're broke or if you're not, but what Derek is saying, that if an opportunity presents itself for you to get some money from these politicians, you would take it even if you don't agree with the ideologies that they're selling to you as a youth.
Absolutely, absolutely. You see, money is money. Whether it's coming from the church or it's coming from whoever it is, money is money. And then these young people, that's why I'm encouraging them, go. The only thing that these young people are not doing is, why would you have to be, bring out violence? The only thing, if you've been brought there to eat, heckle, do whatever you want and then leave. Because hakuna pesa mfukoni. So if the pesa mfukoni is being given out in rallies, then let's be in the rallies. Let's get the 2,000 shillings, let's get the 3,000 shillings. And that's just it. And you see, I might not be a very big fan of Gachagua, but he said, you young people, go and take that money, go and eat that money. You'd actually come to realize, and probably also encourage you guys as a media to research the money that will have been used in this campaign for the next 18 months, because we've already started early. So let the young people eat. It's their right to eat.
All right, let's hear what the people are saying online. Bensi, our question of the day once again is, as early campaigns gain momentum, are young people being empowered politically or merely used for numbers and noise?
All right, let's get to hear what the people are saying online. Let's take a look at some of the feedback. Jom Guy says, Lakewa, we are not catching hell because of our ethnicity, generation, or gender. We are catching hell because majority of the people vote in the wrong people. All right. And on Facebook, we have Jakaya who says, Ati empowered youth politically by who? Kenyan themselves are not ready for empowerment. What they get from politicians is handouts and heckling in the crowds to please politicians. Hassan anasema kazi ni kuimbishwa 1 term na 2 term. And also we have Sibia Nyaboga who says, Nyote fund. All right, that's some of the feedback that we have on Facebook and on X. But of course, we get back to the conversation with Anne Odida.
All right, thank you so much, Bansi, for that. And as we come to the tail end of this first segment that you're talking about, and across major political parties, which of course you are in, we see a lot of, youth leagues that are there. But I care to know if in these parties that you're in, you are given spaces to make decisions, control budgets in the party, candidate selection, or just, policy direction. Jennifer, do you think these opportunities exist for you in DCP as the youth?
Yes, Anne. In DCP, these opportunities exist for us. I've been part of, would I say, a beneficiary? As I've told you, I'm an aspirant in Embu for the Senate seat. Last year, we had by-elections in Bere. Yes, our party didn't front a candidate, but we, in alignment with some of the parties that are in united opposition, we went to the ground. And to every juncture that we went, every corner we went, every youth that is aspiring was given an opportunity to talk to the people. This was very youth-led. We would be given opportunities to present our case, what we think we need to do. We took up roles in monitoring polling stations. And also just last year, again, we signed at the HQ, where we signed an agreement with the party on how to empower the youth who are going to be aspiring in this position. If you see in DCP, which is the youth league led by Wanjiku Mbiga, she's been able to champion for a lot of opportunities in all our rallies that we go to. As long as there's a young aspirant from MCA level, they're given opportunities to talk to the people. At the party level, we frequently are called in for trainings. We are networked to opportunities. For example, just recently we've been aligned as young women who are aspiring to organizations that are going to support and train us. Part of a program right now called Fix It Politics. We are being trained on governance so that we are able to understand what we are going for. And just apart from that also, we have been assured, which we've also seen with other leaders. As you can see in DCP, the leaders, like for example, the women rep, Kirinyaga, are the ones at the front line. So when I go to DCP, I don't feel I'm only learning from the head. We have the very young current MPs who are also in the party, and they're telling us it's possible for you guys to go to the grassroots and mobilize. All right. So there is a lot of empowerment in DCP.
Let's hear from Okeyo here as well. Do you feel like you have space at PNU to make policy decisions?
So let me start by saying, and I will not mince my words, that for most political parties, the youth do not have space to voice out their ideas or even to exercise those ideas.
Is there space at PNU for the youth?
Yes, and I'm coming to that. You know, before I joined PNU, I was in chama fulani wanajitanga chama kubwa. And those were my initial stages of joining the political space. And I first realized that it is very hard for young people to grow in these political parties because, first of all, there's a lot of gatekeeping, there's a lot of brokering. When I started my political journey, I was vying for a grassroots seat, youth leader for my ward. And I first realized that this was not forthcoming because there's just no goodwill in some of these parties. But I'm glad to report that when I joined PNU, I found a different type of leadership. In fact, PNU has been on a very vigorous track of rebranding itself. Recently, tulibadilisha our slogan from Kazi Iendelee to Twende Kazi. Also, the party leader has been trying to rebrand PNU to accommodate the youth wenye wamekataliwa space in other political parties. So at PNU, there is that space. You can grow, there is no gatekeeping. In fact, yesterday tulikuwa na our Secretary General, Mr. Walukwe, tukimgrill na tukimwambia that we need the party itoe all the fees for the young aspirants.
All right. Neston, do you feel like Jubilee is doing enough to accommodate the youth when it comes to matters like making policy decisions and giving just policy direction in the Jubilee Party?
To be honest, we are not there yet, but I think that's what we are trying to agitate for. Just like the rest, I was also an aspirant in 2022. And what happened is, under Jubilee, I was denied a ticket because I was a young person. So what happened is, we told them, so if you're not going to be part of the decision making at the table, we're actually going to break that table. And we went to the former president, talked to him and told him, this is what we want. The idea of youth leagues is, for me, it's still like a fallacy, because youth are not a minority group. They're actually the major group.
Right.
So in fact, in the top leadership, in either in their NEC committees or in their top leadership, there should be a young person. Whether it's the deputy party leader, whether the secretary general, that's what should be, because they're the only people who can be able to advocate. But the idea of youth league, for example, when they're removing Sifuna, did you see them bring young people to decide whether Sifuna should be out, should be taken out or not? So we are trying to agitate for that to like go forward, but at this current, it's still not very vibrant. And just to be honest, there's still like a lot of work to be done, and that's what you're trying to do.
All right. I want us now to shift gears and talk about a different topic. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta has been trending this week. Yesterday, we also captured him in some of the dailies. Apparently, we've seen youth attempt to engage him directly. We've seen a section of youth trying to just visit him or making their way to his home in Ichaweri. But they were being turned away, albeit with, encouragement to organize better. That was a statement by the former president's spokesperson. Let's just listen to what some of the, the young Turks who were headed to Ichaweri had to say.
YELAF postponed the road to Ichaweri convening. We are very clear on that position. As such, any individual or any group that appears at Ichaweri today claiming to represent us as YELAF does not speak for us and is not acting on our instruction or authority. YELAF does not condone disorder, chaos, or the use of young people for disruption. And it is this last bit of information that made us to change our mind, which is the intelligence that we received, that there was a group being organized somewhere in Gikomba that was going to come and cause havoc.
In maybe 2-3 weeks' time, we'll have a date, something that is well organized, something that will not be infiltrated.
We are going to Ichaweri to seek for mentorship, to understand the history of our nation, and also to extend. The fourth president has extended an arm to listen to us.
Jennifer, what's your analysis of the attempt to, or the Ichaweri visit? It wasn't an attempt, they went there, but of course they weren't able to go in. What's your analysis of that visit?
So for me, when I listen to the video, I think it's a cry for like direction and help. This entire movement, the Gen Z movement and the youth movement, you remember we were partyless, we were leaderless, we were tribeless. So there is a call for leadership, because all of a sudden we need to be organized into groups, because we've realized for us to attain, when we are dispersed, that's when you get the president can come in and get the most vulnerable and, use them for whatever reasons he's using them, of course, to get votes, bring Nyota Fund, and then the whole agenda. Now we seem like we are in two. So it's a cry for leadership, but again, I'd say, we cannot cry for young leadership and go to our forefathers. I want to encourage the youth to believe in themselves, to organize themselves. Again, to say, I think we will talk about this, the Sisi Ndio Sifuna. When we say Sisi Ndio Sifuna, it means we are able to do this. So I think as a youth, we need to reorganize. I'd say for them, it's because they've not found a place in political parties. And it's true. Some of these parties are led by people you don't want to trust, because the whole point is you've been there before, you didn't do this. Some of them are thinking other leaders will take advantage of them. But I think it's high time for us, the youth, to sit and organize ourselves. We need a party. We need leaders. So I think it's a call for leadership and structure. They're not headed in the wrong direction, because again, Uhuru has come out strong as an ally of the youth. He's come out and encouraged youths to, go fight for your rights. We are behind you. I'd see why they want to go to Ishaweri.
And of course, our question of the day with regard to this conversation, does Uhuru Kenyatta still hold influence over Kenya youth, or has a new generation of leaders taken this space? Once again, does Uhuru Kenyatta still hold influence over Kenya's youth, or has a new generation of leaders taken that space? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47 even as you continue to interact with us and be part of this conversation. What do you make of this, Godfrey? The young people trying to, look for former President Uhuru Kenyatta. What is the thought process behind it?
So Uhuru Kenyatta was loved by the people during his tenure, especially the youth. He was an easygoing president. And I think that love has persisted to this moment. And to be honest, if you are a leader who has gone to the heights of leadership, like Uhuru Kenyatta, it is expected that your influence is going to persist for some time. We can see, like the late BAMBA, his influence is still here with us even in his death. So I would say Uhuru still has a voice in the current atmosphere. And yes, that is my take.
Do you think that points to some sort of a vacuum of leadership among current actors that we have in the political scene, such that the youth would feel the need to go look for a retired president at his residence and leave, these leaders who are in acting capacity as leaders? Do you think so? Does it point to a vacuum?
I don't think it points to a vacuum, because as we speak, we have very capable young leaders. As I said, the likes of Babu Owino, the likes of Edwin Sifuna. I just see this as Uhuru is an elder statesman, and it goes without doubt that young people would look for him. You remember before Uhuru atoke kwa power, tulikuwa tunasema he's too young kutoka. So I think that is what is playing out. He was a good president, and there is that nostalgia that still exists, but by no means do we have a lack of capable leaders who we can look up to. Yes.
Laston, of course, you're a member of the Jubilee Party, and it's very difficult to talk about Jubilee without thinking about the former president. Should that be in any way be a point of concern to anyone, that right now the youth are looking for retired former President Uhuru Kenyatta at his home? What's your analysis of what's happening?
I think a good leader is a good leader, whether they are out of power or not. I think Uhuru was one of the best mentors. I am trying to really get to know the youth who went to Ishaweri, because the president has had a lot of meetings with us young people, especially from Jubilee. So now it means it's now not anymore a Jubilee issue, but it's a nationwide issue that people want to go and visit the president. And to be honest, and we can all agree, Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the only people in this country who has financial muscle to be able to fight this government. And the youth have already noticed that, you know what, this is the person who can be able to give us good money even for campaign. Because even all these opposition leaders combined, I am not sure, I'm not actually sure if they have the financial muscle to run a campaign against Ruto. And especially because, it's alleged that this government has really stolen a lot from us. The only person can be able to fight this government is Uhuru Kenyatta. So
Jennifer smiled when you say that.
Yes?
Jennifer has smiled when you, she has smiled actually when you say that, it's only Uhuru Kenyatta who can campaign against President William Ruto financially. Jennifer, you don't agree?
I mean, I'm not, well, his money would play a part, but that's not what will get us to remove Ruto. I think it's above financial, and the whole concept behind united opposition is for everyone to pull the muscle. So we cannot rely on one man, especially the one who's retired. He can offer advice, but I think the work is with us, the people. First, because we have to take this, I understand, or rather I know there's financially, he would play a role, a big role. But I mean, we people can also pull together. This can be a campaign that's led by people. It doesn't have to be about the money.
So Nestor, you're saying the youth are, are looking for a retired President Uhuru Kenyatta because of his financial muscle to campaign against President Ruto?
No, not quite, not quite. I'm saying, number one, these young people are looking for mentorship. That's obvious. But number two, in the broader aspect, it is the Uhuru Kenyatta has financial muscle to be able to move his government. If you look at what these young people are asking, especially the people who are supporting President Ruto, they're asking us, so if not Ruto, then who? If not Ruto, then who? Who has the capability of running a campaign against President Ruto? No, nobody tells you that, actually this person is going to become the president. Apart from Jubilee Party, and you'd ask DCP, you'd ask PNU, and tell them, who is your preferred presidential candidate? You'd hear either the answers are going to be very different across the party. Nobody will give you a solid answer that us as United Opposition, wherever the polls are heading, I think you're heading towards a particular candidate. Because all of them, in terms of financial play, will really play a big role in determining even the person who will be the flag bearer in regard to like the United Opposition. Because all of them sort of like have a network that is around the same. But this, Uhuru doesn't just have the financial capability, but he also has the mobilization factor. You've already seen the role that he's playing in Africa, not just in Africa, but in terms of global politics and trying to bring peace. Meaning he's even able to mobilize even more resources to come to campaign against President Ruto. We might try to assume that fact and say we don't need the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, but it's going to play a very key role. And that's why you see people like Gachagua saying, msitusi rais, we alikuwa rais wetu. Because they know he's the only person in this country who can be able to afford a campaign that Ruto can be able to afford. Yeah.
Godfrey, do you agree that retired President Uhuru Kenyatta is now emerging as a unifying figure across the opposition spaces? And of course, we've had, government allied, people wanting the former president to just retire and relax at home and disappear from the political scene. Is that what you as the youth would also agree with? That even as some say that he's a unifying figure within the opposition space, then he should also retire. What do you think?
I think definitely Uhuru is a unifying figure. First of all, as I said, he was a good president. He was not working based on rhetorics like Singapore. He was not working based on tokenism like what we are seeing with Nyota Fund. Uhuru alikuwa mtu wa kusema na kutenda. And that is why I also think he's coming up as a unifying figure in the opposition. And not only in the opposition, but to the young people as a unit. Because we can see there was this IGAD conference, and President Uhuru directly told the young people, the time is now, tomorrow is now. If you are to effect change, wake up and take that power right now. So definitely, myself, I view Uhuru as a unifying figure. And if you see how things are playing out in the united opposition, you can tell that he's playing a role in the background.
Godfrey, when when retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, and of course now the president were leaving office at that time, a lot of young people were against the leadership. They were tired. There was a lot of agitation. A lot of youth wanted them to leave office and just go. Then what has changed? Now that, they want him back and they want him in the political space. What is different this time?
This is something that happens. Hakuna siku umewaiona when a sitting president is in office, watu wanasimama wanasema huyu president ni mzuri. Since the days of Moi to Kibaki to Uhuru Kenyatta, you can see with Moi Kibaki. When he was in power, it was the same thing. Lakini vile alitoka, that is when people noticed that, kumbe Kibaki alitengeneza Thika superhighway. So that is what is happening with Uhuru as well. Uhuru did a good work. But of course, when you're in power, people are going to talk.
So it has a lot to do with political fatigue among the young people, that when they're tired with you, they will have problems with you. But then when you leave, now they want you back. It's all to do with political fatigue, you agree?
I think it's just the architecture of democracy. You know, democracy without agitation is not democracy. But once the leader, like, for instance, Uhuru Kenyatta is out of office, now we appreciate the things that he was doing. Yes.
All right. Let's get some of the feedback online. We are asking the question once again, does Uhuru Kenyatta still hold influence over Kenya's youth, or has a new generation of leaders taken that space?
All right, let's sample a few feedback from the socials, just in regards to the Uhuru factor. And Daniel Mutungi says, we're still in dilemma. It took Israelites a couple of years for them to get Moses, so our Moses is still to come. Halafu Chris Odhiambo anasema, he does big time. The youth need the connections Uhuru has. Bomas Affidavit says, I don't think there's any leader who can claim to be the youth influencer. The caliber of youth that we have today is so dynamic to a point where they don't find the relevance of having a leader. Peter naye anasema Uhuru is trying to take hold of the youth through his proxies, the Sifuna team. All right. OBS Barrow says, does it matter? He retired. Isaac Mwangi says, who knows where he is going? Anyone? Oyondi Creations Media says, he holds. Collins Ouma Otieno says, ask him. Sai hana power. Sisi hatuwezi kukaa bila power. Tunataka power. All right, that's some feedback from Facebook, of course, in regards to the Uhuru factor. Odida?
The youth wanataka power, and maybe they're looking, for Uhuru Kenyatta for that. But Jennifer, do you think that if at all the youth had confidence in the current leadership, that they'd still be going after retired President Uhuru Kenyatta? Is it an issue with lack of confidence on the current government?
Yeah, so let me say this. This government has performed so poorly that the youth are finding solace in a leadership that they once were against. Because how did Ruto ascend to power? It's by Ruto came and aligned again to the same youths who are complaining to that government. So unfortunately, this government has done so badly that even the ones who did evil before or bad look so good to us. Again, it has also taken us back to reflection on the leadership of President Uhuru, that yes, his government has had their laws, but in their very low, we were able to go through COVID. You know, there are things he was able to deliver as much as he did so bad. So we've gone back to reflection, and I think this is where the youth appreciation for Uhuru is coming from, where, my goodness, this man is too much for us. Now, can you at least, because during your time it wasn't 100, but there's something you did. So again, I'll say Uhuru is an ally. He's come out strong to support the youth. No wonder they lean towards his
Do you think
advice.
he should retire and go home?
No. In this case, anyone in politics should not retire. We need everyone on board in terms of united opposition. I do not understand why people think it's so hard to take this man home, because it's a matter of vote. It is our votes that represent us. I know the financial aspect play a part, but if every Kenyan unites against these people, it's very easy to outdo them. You heard Matiang'i the other day, he said that I was able to protect the exams when I took office. So I'll protect this voting when it comes to, in case the government wants to steal. So what we need is everyone to align, to come on board, so that we are able to take him out. If Uhuru can play a part maybe financially, if he can play a part by advising, if his networks can work for a movement, then he's brought on board. So why would he retire? He's equally a Kenyan that can vote.
Let's shift gears now and talk about also roping Edwin Sifuna, the Nairobi senator. Right now, there's a lot of conversations around the possibility of Sifuna joining the opposition side. Will that be something that you as the youth would want from Sifuna, that he now, gets out of the broad-based government and now comes and joins the opposition in campaigning against, the government of the day, Nestor?
First of all, Sifuna has done a great job in Nairobi in regards to him trying to represent them in the Senate. He's been very vocal about issues affecting Nairobi. And for that, I'll give him a tick on that because he's done something. You want to put this similarly to Raila's journey politically. When the father died in 1994, and now people were trying to, the father died and didn't give direction on who runs Ford Kenya and who doesn't. At that time, Raila probably was just, probably, what was his role? He was like the director of politics or something. So he was a director in something. And then he said, I know I might be young, I know I'm not as old as Kijana wa Malwa, but I think whatever I have, I feel can be able to take this party forward. He spoke his voice and he said, you know what, I think the Kijana wa Malwa is not fit to be able to run this party. And so what happened, he went out of the party and formed his own party and resigned from Ford Kenya and still was the MP of Kibra. What I'd want to see from Sifuna is if he's able to single-handedly or even join any party and still become Senator of Nairobi. That will prove to me that his ideologies actually also sink in well with the people. Because that is the only way leadership in this country or now great potential leaders come about. It's like the butterfly in its cocoon. The butterfly must be able to get out of its cocoon itself for it to have strong wings. That is the process Sifuna is going through currently. And if he can successfully go through it, he'll be one of the greatest leaders in this country. What he needs to do right now, and of course, it's going to be a lot of conversation. He needs people who can be able to advise him in the best way on what best political party to join, on how he can be able to now position himself towards good leadership. Sifuna is by far one of the most potential people to become president in this country. It might not be in 2027, but 2032 is very near. His story is similar to the one that we have with Barack Obama, being a senator, and then you can skip from a senator and becoming a leader. So he's one of the people, even me as a young person, I'm looking at. They can be able to go against their own party and be able to speak whatever they think is right for this party. If they're not delivering the point agenda, the 10-point agenda, he's there trying to agitate for how this country can be able to be better.
And Godfrey, some would look at it as a serious political force in the making. But perhaps do you see it surviving the test of time? This Sifuna wave, Sisi ni Sifuna, from where you sit?
From where I sit, I think the slogan itself, Sisi ni Sifuna, might not survive for a long time. But if we try and coin this in a way that embodies what the people want, the people want mambo ya health ikuwe sawa, the people want education to work. If this group of Kina Babu and Sifuna can coin this slogan in such a way that it is going to resonate with the people, then it will stand the test of time. Because for one, leaders like Babu and Sifuna, they have proven to be very capable leaders. They are people who deliver. But if we go by slogans, the slogan is not going to stand the test of time, according to me. But if they coin this movement in a way that is going to serve the people, then definitely it is going to stand the test of time because of the kind of leadership that we have in Babu and Sifuna.
So as the youth, you would love for him to also just join the united opposition?
Yes, because first of all, we don't agree with the government that is in place. And it's not for personalities, it's based on principle. This government is talking about Singapore. Where is Vision 2030? 2030, miaka ngapi zimebaki tufike 2030? Are we just throwing that away? Vision 2030 was supposed to elevate Kenya to a medium income country. If we throw that away, are we just going to come up with visions and agenda and not implement them? So we are disagreeing with this government based on principle. That is why I suggest that Sifuna and Babu, they join the united opposition, because if they run as a third force, they're going to split the votes. And that is going to make it very easy for the current government to come back. Na tutaendelea na the same problems zenye tuko nazo right now. So that is.
But we've seen a lot of, this is not the first time. We've seen a lot of parties hunting separately in all the days, 2002, for instance. Just to, if you're a student of history, you know what happened, when, of course, there's this Raila, Kalonzo, Saitoti, joining hands with the people like Kibaki, Ngilu, Wamalwa to unseat late President Moi, yeah?
Yeah.
So what is the problem if they hunt separately and then decide to just come together and not necessarily join the united opposition, but hunt separately, then come together? Is that a possibility that, say, the youth would love to see?
Yeah, so maybe just to take you back a little in terms of Sisi Ndio Sifuna movement. So first, it's not a slogan, it's an identification. Sifuna did not wake up and started telling people, Nyinyi ndio Sifuna. It came from the people. So it's a form of identification for the young people that we identify, because this is a leader who's in power, but he's also championing for the same agenda.
Will it stand the test of time?
It will stand the test of time. Why will Sisi Ndio Sifuna stand the test of time? Because everyone is rallying behind an identification. We identify to this, Sisi Ndio Sifuna, this agitation that he keeps representing and calling out for accountability in government. What I would love to see from this Sisi Ndio Sifuna movement is organization. I think it's time for people to rally behind, get the numbers right, then you're able to tell Sifuna now, you will endorse you as now the leader of Sisi Ndio Sifuna, because it is not, he's just an inspiration, because that is what we identify to. We do not want him to just wake up and say, now I'm in DCP. No. He has numbers that identify to this slogan. I mean, we could have a party. He's now the SG of ODM party. Who said ODM, I mean, from the way he's told us as the SecGen of the party, he said that Baba said they had this broad-based arrangement was not to front a candidate. This relationship will end in 2027. So we are looking at ODM joining united opposition under the leadership of Sifuna.
The ODM Linda Ground included?
No. We are not talking about the old people who have pocketed money and they're selling the party. We are talking about the ODM that Sifuna will lead, and the youth of ODM will take up seats in that, and we'll have a new frontline leadership. And if that doesn't work, they should not shy away from forming a party for the youth. The youth will back them up.
Jennifer, if this will stand the test of time, as you say it, will it stand the test of voter turnout come 2027, being that even right now the youth are not registering as voters, as we would expect that even as they continue to chant Sisi Ni Sifuna, that they will also be part of this change. And Sifuna also made a comment that when you talk about Sisi Ni Sifuna and you're not going there to register as voters, then you're not serious in being part of this change that they are trying to make. Then will it now stand the test of voter turnout?
Yes, I want to assure Kenyans. I don't know why people are in panic mode that the young people are not taking votes, their voters card. I want to assure you that, especially in the next coming 30 days, where they're going to roll out more places to pick their voters registration. With this Sisi Ndio Sifuna movement, we are going to bring numbers. It is upon us, the young people again, to still go and take this voters card.
Last minute rush.
I mean, that's, the same way I keep saying, no one told us to go to the streets. We went on our own timing. So we will take our voters in our own timing.
All right.
And by that, I want to assure the Kenyan, I know people are very discouraged by the numbers right now, but watch this space. The young people, anyone who went to the streets, they will vote in 2020.
Let's get our final remarks in 30 seconds. 30 seconds strictly, because we are out of time. Neston, what's your final remarks with regard to everything we've talked about this morning? Sifuna factor, Uhuru factor, the normalization of Gunism, and the political scene even ahead of next year's general election.
One, always I want to encourage the youth in matters pertaining elections and how their vote counts in this coming election. We know right now people are already politicizing the fact that young people are not taking the votes. But I am aware that in counties like Lamu, where you only have 2 constituencies, Lamu West and Lamu East, by the time somebody gets to the place where they need to register as voters in the IBC headquarters, it's very far, and Lamu is so big. So in the 60 days mass registration, we are going to be picking up young people and letting their vote count. It doesn't matter whether you're from the United Opposition or you're from the government. The thing is, we want to be the voices of the young people to be able to be, heard in the basket, political basket. Another thing is, let's not use our young people to be able to settle our political scores. Whether you are the government of the day, remember even you also tear gas the previous time when the other government was in power. Let us try to have decorum in terms of our politics. Kenya is one of the most respected countries, not just in Africa, but global. A lot of people, a lot of investors are coming to Kenya because of the space and how the young people are in this country. Let us not use these young people to be able to set those political scores. Let us help these young people know what matters to them. How can they be empowered? What are you doing in order to help them grow to the next step? And another thing, let all our leaders, irrespective of where you're coming from, be able to mentor these young people to form the next generation. And the next
Neston, you've eaten, the time that I gave you, that 30 seconds, Godfrey. He has eaten your time, but just take 30 seconds strictly, kindly.
Okay. Mimi nataka kuambia vijana wenzangu huko nje. Hiyo pesa mnalipwa kuleni, that 2,000 kuleni, because hiyo pesa ni sisi wametuibia. Lakini ukienda kwa rali ya Sifuna, rali ya Babu kwa sababu kule hiyo pesa, lakini slogan ni sisi ndio Sifuna.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Wrap it up for us.
My parting shot is to the youth of Kenya, power is not given, power is taken. It's taken when you vote, when you register as voters, and also when you stand in this leadership position. I look forward to many of us young people vying for these seats from MCA to the presidential. Na tuzidi tukisukuma hii serikali kwa sababu sisi ndio Sifuna.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer Mbogo, Embu DCP Youth Coordinator, Naston Joseph, Youth Leader, Jubilee, and of course, Godfrey Okeyo, PNU Youth Leader, Nairobi County, for making time for us to have this conversation, and of course, for braving the rain and being here this morning. Looking forward to see you some other time as we talk about your perspective as the youth. All right, coming up next is Feel Good Friday. Don't go too far. You're watching Morning Cafe.